Greetings, welcome to our 8th Facilitator update. I'm glad and excited to see the sun finally shining and the weather turning for the positive. I hope you're also able to enjoy it as well. We have some exciting things to share with you this month, but let's get started with some of our data. I gathered this data on April 16th. There are 29 active schools participating with students registered. We have 214 total students registered. However, 186 of them are actively registered students, meaning that those are registered students, and then I subtract those who haven't yet started. We have, of those 186, I have 146 working on just math, 92 working on just English, and 52 working on math and English. Here are the average pretest scores for all of our schools. There are 30.23% started with math, 77.44% in reading, and 76 in writing. Then we go with our pretest scores as we do, our post-test scores as we do have some students finishing. Our math jumps up to 91.85%, reading 79.29%, and writing at 81.2%. Of all of our schools, this is the average current course score. We're at 88.34% for math and 89.83% for an average course score in English. Of the 140 students, 46 students participating in CREAM Math, we finally have 7 who are successfully completed and passed. This is a pass rate of 4.79%. Of the 92 students participating in CREAM English, we have 21 students who have successfully completed and passed. This is a pass rate of 22.83%. How exciting. Submission of final grade. I know that I've talked about this in many of our other videos, but that way you don't have to filter through. We can continue talking about how we're getting this. I'm still getting some questions, which is absolutely fine. Please send them my direction. I'm more than willing to help you gather some data if you're a little unsure of some things. Once you verify that the student has successfully completed each assigned module with a 70% or greater, and you know that the student has successfully completed their post-test with a 70% or greater, we can now input their grade on their transcript. So to do that, we're going to use the student's cumulative CREAM course percentage as their CREAM score on their transcript for each math and or English respectively. Note that we're not including the pretest on their average score because the pretest is just a path builder for us to decide what modules students still need to master. So it should not hurt their grade. So to do that, how we're going to find their cumulative grade, once you're logged in under My Math or My Learning Lab, you'll go to Manage Grades, Export Data, and then click Advanced. You'll want to create an export name and go through the data. You want all students, all dates, all categories, and then when you get to the specific content, you'll want to choose reading and writing together or math. So I thought I would show you how to go about it. So I'm going to pretend I'm Warwick right now. I'm going to say that this is their English grades. The export type I'm going to choose is the student assignment results. And I particularly like the MyLab Excel format. It brings it right into an Excel spreadsheet for us. Then it brings up all the information that we may need. I'm going to choose all my students, all the dates, all the categories, and then in my content area, if I'm looking at how they're doing in just math, I'll select just math. However, if I'm interested in their English score, I will choose reading and writing together. I'm going to look at the math score just for sake here. So we're going to do English because I have the report listed as English. All right, then I'm going to go to the specific assignments. The easiest way to go about this is select all, and then we'll go ahead and deselect the things that are not required in order to earn a 70% or greater to move on. So I'm going to get rid of the pretest. This particular one, we have an old post test that we don't use anymore, which is why it says not in use. You can uncheck the path builder and uncheck anything that says mastery check. Those things are not required for students in order to successfully move on to their next step with a 70% or greater. So they're kind of filtered throughout here. So I just have to scroll through all of the writing and reading modules until I reach all of them. Just keep scrolling through. Again, here's a post-test, but I'm going to unselect the pre-test for the writing and uncheck the path builder and the mastery checks. And just scroll through, make sure, oh, here's a mastery check. I know there's a lot of them, but they kind of stand out as we scroll through. Sometimes I go through it a couple times just to make sure I've got it. All right, then I'm going to click OK. Now we're at the scores automatically puts it to included attempt only. You can do scores from all attempts if you want to see how they did all together, but I only want to know what their highest score is because we know they can take things multiple times. So I'm only interested in what their highest score was. I choose percent format. And we also want to make sure we have the weighted average of the selected assignments. This tells us what that overall grade is of all the assignments that we have selected. And then we go ahead and click Request Report. This takes a little while for it to process, but then we can click Retrieve Advanced Reports. And I know I've done quite a few of these already, but if I were to click one of these then, that I've done, so I'm going to click this reading only one. So when the document opens, I've blocked out all of the student names so we can't see them. In this column here is their current score. In this particular case, I ran this report for Rorick for reading only. So this would be their reading only score. But as you can see, some of the columns have these M's in them. These M columns represent items that the student mastered during their path builder or their pretest, so they don't need to be included. Also, you'll see that there are random grades. These are the random grades that your student has completed based on the work that they've done. So this is their current grade. And as I scroll through down to the right here, I know that there's a lot of them. Anywhere where there is a blank is a piece where a student hasn't yet completed yet. So this particular first student would still need to complete the 2.4 reading practice one since it's a blank, etc. Also, we can look through and see, well, this particular assignment, the 2.5 recall, they only earned a 60%. We need all of these columns to be 70% or greater. So the student would need to go back and kind of work on those things as well. Feel free to let me know if you have any questions or you want me to pull the report for you or you're not quite sure how to read something. I'd be more than happy to help with any of that. Note that I have seen still that students are completing either one of the post tests in either reading and or English. They need both of them for their English score. And even though a student may earn a 70% or greater on their writing and or reading, they still need to take their post test because this is the one that's counting since that's the one we're grabbing for our English grade. New for fall, I'm excited to say that you have told me time and time again, and we are finally able to pull something together for you in regards to the Cream Math pretest. I'm working with Amy at Pearson. I've had many of you state that the students get frustrated with the pretest, and particularly in math, that it's too hard, so they'll just guess just to finish, or they'll leave them blank just to finish. Hence why we have such low low math scores for the pretest. We are working on gathering the data from all of the pretests in math to determine where students are doing well on them and the types of problems which they kind of fall off the bandwagon with. That's going to be our cutoff. So we're going to have 2 different pretests for math. All students will be assigned them, so there's nothing that you will need in the future to identify on either one. Every student will start at the same place, just as they do now. The first pretest, if they earn a 70% or greater on that pretest, they will be able to see a second math pretest with the more difficult material. This will be the types of questions where students just guessed in the past or they've skipped just so that they could finish the pretest. They'll still be required to do all of the same modules. However, they won't be able to see the more difficult material until they actually reach that module within their mastery as they're working through CREAM math towards the end. So I'm hoping that the easier pretest, students will feel more confident in themselves and they'll just have a better outlook and not be so frustrated. So if you have any questions or comments on that or ideas that you'd like to shoot my way, I'd really appreciate it as we're starting to build it. This will be effective in the fall. So we're going to work on this here at the end of spring and over summer to make sure that that's ready for you come fall. A few housekeeping things. If you've completed your training and had not received an email from me requesting a W-9, you do get a training stipend. Please let me know so I can send that to you. I have probably about 6 or 7 W-9s that I need to send, but I was kind of holding off until the end of April to send them in for request for payment. Further, if you are implementing CREAM and it is above and beyond your contractual duties as a teacher, you may be eligible for a teacher implementation stipend. Even if you submitted a stipend letter to me for this implementation in the fall, I still need one for the spring because they're 2 individual start dates for CREAM. So please send that to me by April 30th so that I can make sure that you get your teacher implementation stipend. Further, if your school is intending on offering CREAM next fall, you need to fill out a new high school proposal form. So it's easier for me to keep track of who's participating now, who's going to continue participating in the future. It's attached in the email with this letter. I have about 6 forms back, and I know it's still early, but the better we know, the more we know now, the better off we'll be come fall. I appreciate all of your hard work as we are ending spring semester and ending the school year. Please feel free to reach out with any questions or concerns that you have. I'd be more than happy to answer any of them. Have a wonderful sunny day.